Welcome aboard. We're gonna do one rapid game. For people tuning in, I'm a master. I explain move by move, educational stuff, right? So we have a game here against 2,400 player. Let's play D4. This guy is probably old timer. Actually, a little bit new. So bishop f4. Let's play the London, right? So E3, C3. He could play this kind of stuff, which is okay against the London. He could play H3, bishop H2, just to get the bishop. If he gets to play knight H5, right? So we play here. Everything is solid. If he takes, we take this way. Knight C6, bishop D3. Everything is solid. Rock solid. Now he wants to do some kind of E5 break. Let him do it. Some kind of break on E5. So here, bishop E2. We could play knight F3. So the idea is knight F3. If he takes, bishop takes, D5 becomes weakness. He might do bishop E6, rook E8. D4 is probably D4. It's a potential move, but I think it's more like towards the center, playing toward the center. Like, I mean, you're playing toward the center here, but it's more like, is the center, this is like a safe approach. He did it. I mean, he did the move. So which way should I take? Takes. Maybe take this way here. So what happens if I take everything? Bishop takes, queen takes. I mean, this is actually possibility. Bishop takes here, knight f3. I think that works. Does he have pawn takes? Bishop takes g7. So if here, knight f3, he has to move the bishop, supposedly. And then we take on d4. So this is actually the plan, knight f3. And then I take on d4. Here. Knight f3. Attack then bishop. So this way we could win the pawn, which is and that's one of the reasons why d4 was not really needed. So now which way should we take? Probably with the piece. The pawn is maybe passer, but there's ways you could attack it somehow. So this is actually safest approach. The knight is good centralized. Bishop f3 is still like active. He plays here. He wants to play rook d8. So here, towards the center, he's going to play here. Correct. So maybe rook d1, defending here. If I were to play bishop f3, he just takes, that becomes like a free pawn, which the pawn that I already took, right? You want to hang on to your pawn. He may move his bishop now. This is actually lining up to be like a decent move. Then bishop f3. So now he plays bishop d7. I mean, maybe he's lining up for this way. Could we play like e4, e5? Maybe here, maybe get the bishop here, trade it. If we could trade that bishop that way, it would be good. So this is like me saying e5 is a plan. He played a6, so a5, and also that attacks the queen. The queen has to move away. Could it go here? Could it go there? So we also, what we call is we fix a pawn that way. This is a term that we use. So if he takes here, let's say later on, everything is being traded. This is like becomes a free pawn. You kind of put these two pawns on a light square, which could be beneficial in the endgame. It just helps you fix the pawns so they could be attacked, maybe potentially. So queen e7 is being played. So we're doing great job in terms of like having a pawn. We fix the pawns as we talked about. His queen is on e7. But we're not really winning or anything. We're closing in, but he might be looking at bishop c6 somehow. Bishop c6. Because I can't really. I mean, I could take, but you know, the queen is under attack. Let's play here. I mean, if he plays here, I could take. Knight takes. A few minutes ago, I was not able to like do it properly. So maybe now he maybe get the rook activated. Yeah, he get this one in a good square. Maybe get the rook in. He maybe, yeah. So he played here. I was looking at queen b4. So I need to get out of this somehow potential pin. So queen b4 attack this. There's also rook c1, but I think it's queen b4 looks like a kind of like a good move because we are actually attacking that pawn, and that's one way when we say fix the pawn, that would be like, you know, we are attacking it on b7 that way because we played a5 early. So now this is a real move. I mean, black is slightly passive here. I mean, the queen doesn't belong to e7. He's down a pawn. He played here, which is it's kind of goofy. I mean, he's defending b7. It's goofy. It's goofy. I mean, if I play here, any kind of trade would be only be good for white. But he's gonna defend. Actually, maybe we could play queen b6. Because if he goes here, this is hanging. Yeah, this move should work. If he goes here, he just... actually, the rook is hanging. So if he plays queen b8, excuse me, queen e8, this is hanging. This is also hanging, so you all like hanging. Queen b8 defends c7, but it doesn't defend here. However, maybe he takes here. And if he takes here, rook takes... by the way, again, to explain, I'm going a little bit too fast. If here, this still like queen takes here. This is hanging, and then this will be hanging, and this is also be hanging. He could go back to f6, but he'd lose an exchange. But also, this is also hanging. So it's like here, defend this one, bishop f6, but then d7 is hanging. So he took anyway, and this feels a little bit surprising. I mean, may not have much. So now b7 is under attack. He doesn't have rook c2 or anything. So he goes here. So this is takeable, but rook b8. So we take the pawn, rook b8. So now it's a second pawn, but this he's likely to get beat, you know, b6. But we need to trade. I have to be careful how I do it. How do we trade? It's probably here. Rook takes b6. So he's attacking b2. Rook takes b2. b3. Trying to play bishop c4. So this is defendable. So I'm up 2 pawns. So if you're up 2 pawns, what do? You just simply trade, right? So that's what I'm trying to do. Bishop e8. He wants to play rook d6. Bishop c4. Rook d6, I'm assuming. May lose another pawn. We lose another pawn. So we are gonna be. He's gonna take on d4, and then it's gonna be one pawn. And I will try to win this one. Maybe this is a draw somehow. Somehow we found a way to miraculously defend. I mean, he might have to take everything. Yeah. Like take on d4, trade a lot here, and then maybe rook b7. I still have b3 pawn. Don't mistake. Ooh, he played here. This move works. Maybe it works. He takes, I take, bishop takes. King g7 was not really needed. I actually felt like he had to take bishop takes d4. So bishop takes d4 takes, take here, take everything. So he would land on d4. So knight e6, he cannot take back because of this. So this is rook takes, trade everything. And if he doesn't react, he just goes back. We just take this one. We could actually do it. He's still defending this. So maybe king g8. Because I figured that I could take here, but this rook takes d1. He resigned anyway, but let's take a look at this one. Yeah, so this king g8, the computer is giving me king g8. I was looking at this one, but it's a mistake because of rook takes d1. I was looking at maybe more precisely the best line is probably takes here, the computer, and then some kind of rook e8. Yeah, maybe. I was looking at knight c7, but knight c7 was a move, but rook e8 simply wins. So the idea is you're hitting this. How could you defend the bishop? Use a stake, but then you're looking at this kind of ending. Rook c8. The opposite color bishop, but down 2 pawns. And the king is not really like active here. It looks like my rook is active. So this is leaning heavily toward like winning. You know, it's not 100% winning. Maybe there's a draw chances. The reason I say it's a draw chances because opposite color bishops give the defender a little bit of a room to defend. But if it's the same color as the bishop, let's say he has a light square bishop, then it's easy win, right? I'm assuming this is really easy win. We go back a little bit here just to see if I was in line, like with everything. So that was a blunder. I wonder if d4 is the blunder. So this position is equal. Like the computer is giving me rook e8. It's also giving me queen e7. You know, it's a move that I was talking about during the game. You play toward the center, but not necessarily that way. So this move is, you can see that the val bar went up. It is actually liking the other move. It also likes this move. And supposedly it may lean like to the same thing that I was doing, like here and then e takes. It's actually liking that kind of stuff, which is similar to the game, I guess. And then queen b6, and then you play b3. So it just favor this position. You're up a pawn. So this d4 is not needed. Like it's not really needed to play like that. He has a way to defend this supposedly. Like he could still defend after bishop g7. I wonder what's the difference here. The computer wants bishop g7. What's the difference? So if you take on here, this bishop queen g5. So it wants the queen to get active on g5, which is kind of interesting. Maybe you're heading here. You cannot take because the king is pinned. And then looking for mate on g2. So this is like a counterplay. White has a pawn, yes, but you may have to do a move like this, like, you know, like knight f3, it's a computer line, queen f6, you're hitting this pawn. This one is not easy anymore. The computer is giving me bishop c4, and it's heading toward equality. You don't want to play b3 because he could take on e1, right? That's actually a big problem. Wait, I'm not doing it. So here. And this position is not, you know, you just lose material here. So supposedly this move doesn't allow the queen to go to g5, which now the computer feels like there's not enough counterplay. There's also b3 the computer wants me to play. I felt like queen d2 was the best move. Supposedly after rook d8, you could still play bishop c4, and it's actually giving this pawn out for some reason. and it wants queen f3. And I feel like this may be toward equality, like even slightly better for white, if anything. May still be draw. So queen d2, rook d8. This tells me it's a draw after bishop e6. So this move is really, I felt like it was reasonable because the bishop could get a diagonal. You could play rook c8. The queen is active on b6, right? He played this move, which seems to be like iffy. A4 is one of the moves here you could play. And then a5 was a top move, right? So a5 was a top move. It also likes kind of a weird move, queen e1. But it also likes, I think a5 was like the top choice. So this move is really weird. He could probably play like queen c5. But again, this move is not really played by him. He was concerned about like maybe even b4. b4 is concerning, but there's also like rook ac1, which is actually also very strong. There's a reason why he played this move. It's a bit passive, of course. But the computer now likes, it wants me to play queen b4 first. And then queen b4. So you can see that the val bar now is like white is creating like move by move tempos, like he hitting something, forcing him to defend. And this move is completely bad because of queen. Actually, I missed this move too. I played queen b6. Queen d6 would have won. It's funny that I missed this move. This move is completely winning. How could he defend both of them? So even both of us missed it. This move is easy. It's just you cannot really defend. The computer is giving me queen b8, then you lose a piece by default. So obviously queen b6, which is kind of weird. It's still +2 though. The computer is not giving anything like how he could defend. It's already +2. Queen b8, he's still like this is hanging again. That was actually the problem. So he takes here, and then we have this is like over. I just want to see if bishop takes e6, if there's a way he could come back. b3, it's +2 here. Bishop c4, and I had to play rook e7. This is always in line that this is good. h6 was maybe the move. However, I was looking at this move though. Around here, I was looking at bishop takes. This is still probably not good enough. I was looking at this line. So this one, I see. This one is losing. So even though you get back the pawn, unfortunately for black, he's unlucky here because if the king maybe was on f8 or king g7 would have been maybe closing it to a draw. It's this move. This is over. The problem here, white would be able to trade, and I'm up a pawn. So in order for black to draw this game, he needs to keep the rooks on. You could trade the bishops, but keeping the rooks on is key. So the problem is computer's giving me king g7, like a line. I need drop. The reason if you were to play here, the problem is bishop e5. You play rook e4, but then this is winning because we trade everything. I have this pawn. So this is not the position you're looking for. This is where the extra pawn and the pawn ending is actually winning for white. What you need is like something simple. If we intentionally, just to show you what I mean by that, if I intentionally give defense move by black, right? Let's say we play here. Let's say we play this position out, not here. Rook e8. King f8. Let's say we play this position, rook e4, and let's say I take this way, and then rook e7. You could see the Velbor went down. So keeping this rooks on, it's like maybe equal here. Even after rook b7, let's say let's say we have rook b7, like something like that. Rook e1, rook e1. This may still be holdable after rook b1. Like maybe rook b4 or something, king f6. It's still +1, but maybe black could hold this. Just the maybe. And the other position is actually here. If we go like rook e7 here, rook b6. Yeah, so this rook e7 here is not that great. But I'm just trying to prove a point that after rook b6, rook e3, extra pawn here may not mean much. and it's just even here. So the reason it's lost is we end up having to trade everything. So this whole line does not work. So that's the reason why he has to basically like not take on d4, like maybe play king f8, but then it's like d5. I'm just up 2 pawns here. So if he has to do this, he has to be committed all the way to take on d4. So that's the reason why the computer is not giving me this move. Now it's giving me king f8, but it doesn't really matter here. It's just you're up 2 pawns. So the king gets in here, and then let's say bishop, maybe here. It's one way you could do it. This is actually, we are backed as a line, like here, and then maybe king e2. Now, there's a bit of a difference here, because here we talked about how the rooks are on. The king gets so active on e2, and also I have a bishop to play for. The biggest issue here for black is f7. So this rook e7, bishop c4, anytime he plays this move, he's getting hit by rook takes f7. So he's being very passive. In order to draw this game, even though you're up down a pawn, from black's perspective, you have to have an active pieces here. You cannot really, you don't have active pieces here. That means, you cannot really defend. And white is also like up a pawn. The bishop is active, hitting f7. The rook is also in the 7th rank, which could create some issues on f7 and beyond. The king is on the center of the board. Black king is not really closing in. We are also cutting the king. I mean, let's say he plays f5. This drops h7, but let's say he plays here and I play king e3, rook d8, f5. So I'm kind of like, let's say rook b7, f5. F5, so I cannot take on f7, but this is cutting the king completely. So this would, when we consider this term cutting the king like that, would be huge for the side that is attacking. So even in a game like this is difficult. I don't consider this being active by black, right? It's passive. So you want to be active. You want the rook to, you want black to have an active rook, right? In order to like draw the game. So that was the game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and stay tuned for more games. Again, this is like educational stuff that I do. I play a rapid game, explain the move as they go along. It's helpful. It could help you improve. And, it's just like a way to use it as an alternative for like lessons, right? If you want to take lessons, I'm available for that. If you don't want to, just you could watch my content and you could still learn from it. And again, it could actually improve your level. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back as soon as possible with more videos.